Let me take you back to 2020. LF Vegito Blue released, arguably the greatest character to ever be released in the game. But what about Blue Beast Gohan, or even Super Saiyan 2 Gohan? Which one is the greatest character in Dragon Ball Legends history?
Because I don't know.
I've been playing the game since October 2019, so I've got to see most of the units and how they performed in PvP. The short list that I have come up with includes LF Vegito Blue, Zenkai Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, Zenkai Android 18, Blue Beast Gohan, Ultra Vegito Blue. Any character that you think should be in here, leave it in the comments and I can always do a part 2. Maybe these include Namek Goku, Tag Android 17 and 18, or even Green Ultra Gohan. We're going to be ranking each character out of 5 on how broken they were, their impact, longevity, their team, and how hype they were when they came out. And whichever character comes first is the GOAT. Starting off with character number 1, LF Vegito Blue.
Is that it?
Alright, let's talk about a character so dominant, so overwhelming that when he dropped, PvP was basically a one-man counter-attack. If you loaded into a match and saw Vegito Blue on the other side, you knew it was about to end in a forfeit.
Now you're glazing.
His cardio speed and the infinite strike chains meant he could keep up the pressure throughout the entire game. Once he started a combo, you were stuck watching your health bar vanish like a defender getting left back by Prime Neymar in full stride. There was no chance of stopping him. His ultimate move had blast armor, which was rare back then, which meant if you tried to blast him, you were pretty much out the game. And let's not forget about his blue card lock-in, a mechanic that made sure whoever got caught by the blue card was locked in for a time period, so there was no more running, you had to face him. Cover change didn't matter, endurance didn't matter. Once Vegito got momentum, you might as well have put your phone down and called it a day. This man didn't just change PvP, he was PvP. If you weren't using him, you were prepping a team to counter him specifically. He wasn't just a top tier unit, he defined the entire meta for months. And the Future team, unplayable without him. Paired with Zamasu and Trunks, Future dominated PvP for weeks on end. He had an impact that made him the clear centerpiece of the meta, where everything had to be built either around him or against him. LF Vegito Blue was the heartbeat of Fusion Warriors and Future, two teams that were already top tier but became borderline unfair with him in the lineup. I still remember checking Game Press every week and Future sat at number 1 for weeks on end. It was not even a debate. In terms of hype, we might never actually see another unit match Vegito Blue's release. I had friends who didn't even play Dragon Ball Legends install the game just to summon for him for the 2nd anniversary. The YouTube reaction, all the players trying to pull him, this may have been the game's peak in hype. If you were around during that time, you know exactly what I mean. But here's the real question. If I take him into PvP today, can he still hold his own? He got a Zenkai and a unique equip, which means he's usable but not dominant. Definitely not like before. If you're aiming for top ranks, he's probably not your first round pick. But if you put him on Fusion Warriors with a strong support, then he's okay. So maybe he's better on the bench. Absolute menace, absolute legend, one of the most dominant units in the game's history. Arguably the most broken Zenkai unit ever released. His last man standing potential meant he could literally obliterate teams in seconds. Like, he could wait for the end of the game, wait for all his allies to be defeated and then just wipe your team out. His damage stacking meant type advantage did not matter. His ultimate ability to almost one-shot any unit in the game made him an absolute menace. He was one of the most fid units in PvP. I mean, just go on YouTube, search up his Zenkai and you'll see what I mean. This was too powerful and even led to some people quitting the game and taking breaks from PvP overall. Champions League 22 Benzema type level, Wilt Chamberlain type numbers. His Zenkai release immediately put Hybrid Saiyans on top. He forced a shift in PvP playstyles as players had to cautiously avoid giving him the opportunity to ramp up damage. I mean, his ability to, like I said, to 1v3 was literally making players quit the game. His impact on PvP may be the greatest ever. If you didn't have him, you were finished. He was best suited for Hybrid Saiyans and Sun family. Shortly after his release, we did get a Namek Goku Zenkai or Goten Zenkai, making Sun family one of the strongest teams in the game for almost a year. As one of Dragon Ball Z's most iconic moments, his Super Saiyan 2 transformation against Cell, he was already a fan favourite. I mean, his LF animation perfectly captured the Cell Games moment, making him, on release, a great unit. But for a Zenkai, the hype was sort of there. Like I said, players were quitting the game because of how oppressive he was. But if you were a Gohan fan, this was everything you could have wanted. Is he the best right now? No. Can he still be used in PvP? 100%. I mean, recently he just got a new unique equipment which makes him fully viable today. For a unit that old, you have to give him 5 for longevity. A walking nightmare, a unit that ruined PvP for months, but still remains one of the most legendary releases in the game's history. One of the strongest strike-based units in the game. She could literally obliterate entire teams with insane damage multipliers. Her ability to counter Saiyans was devastating. Her Saiyans dominated PvP at the time and usually dominate PvP. I mean, every time a Saiyan came in, she was gaining damage. You switch, you lose, game over. Literally, every time you swapped out, she would gain card draw speed and 20 ki. She and Gohan are the main reasons Zenkais got nerfed. I mean, I remember that we had 3 Zenkais in 1 week, all of them broken. If you had Gohan, you didn't need her. Gohan was red, she was yellow, so Gohan really, in an ideal situation, could have just one-shot her. Androids with this 16 and 21 was the team I ran for a very long time, spending over back then 14,000 crystals to Zenkai that team, but I used it for I think a year and just over. It was very powerful, mainly due to her damage, but Hybrid Saiyans were still dominant. In terms of hype, there was not really much hype for her Zenkai. I mean, no one was begging for it, but her Zenkai did increase her use in PvP. A little bit. Today, she is borderline usable in mid-lower ranks, but definitely not top tier. She can ramp up damage, but the game needs to give her a new boost. She's probably the worst aged unit here. Ultra Vegito Blue, a complete monster of a unit. He brought everything to the table: insane damage capabilities, counter-attack mechanics, and a gauge that made him unstoppable. Your green card could catch your opponent, and his unique gauge, I mean, I'm repeating myself here, but his unique gauge counter-attack, I mean, you could, what is it, a strike or a blast? I can't even remember. His unique gauge was just annoying to fight against. He takes your opponent's vanish just by entering the battlefield. This level of disrespect has not been seen since Boo turned Chi-Chi into an egg. Multiple rising rushes in one match, normal. For the first 30 seconds, double card draw speed. If you get caught in a combo, you are not touching your screen for the next 20 counts. If you weren't using him, you were trying to figure out how to survive against him. His presence cemented Fusion Warriors at the top, forcing teams to either adapt or get steamrolled. His Rising Rush nullified endurance and you also went neutral. However, Fusion Warriors was kind of already up there for one of the best teams in the game, but he took them definitely to a top 2, top 3 spot, even number 1 for a while. But Tournament of Power, I remember with Goku and Frieza releasing that same anniversary, could have competed, so not a clear number 1. Hype, I mean, Vegito for a celebration is usually a 5, an automatic 5. An Ultra unit, even more. Anniversary, oh my gosh, you knew it was going to be massive. His Ultra intro was beautifully animated and his ultimate animation is one of the cleanest in the game. I mean, the extra tapping you need to get more damage. Vegito. Right now, he's still a monster, but his ultra status means he's probably going to hold relevance longer than most units. Will he stay top tier forever? Unlikely. Power creep in Dragon Ball Legends is definitely real, and eventually, if he doesn't get boosted, he will be surpassed. For now, he's definitely one of the best, but the clock is ticking. A true menace for PvP, and one of the most dominant ultra characters ever dropped.
Obedience!
Blue Beast Gohan. I mean, where do I begin? Absolutely broken. I mean, the word broken is Blue Beast Gohan. I mean, his blast armor to one-shotting blue cards and ultimates, his damage output was genuinely unmatched. The blue card also had the additional advantage by restoring your your vanish gauge, making him even more dangerous, but I think by like 70%. Plus he went type neutral during the blue card, meaning he can take on anyone regardless of type advantage. His green card also allowed for insane abilities with restoring the vanish, drawing the cards, gaining key, destroying enemy cards. It was not just raw damage, it was his overwhelming control of a game. I mean, he could control the game at the same time do the damage. He could do everything. Strike and blast cover changes. He gets endurance when your enemy activates their rising rush. Before he was even released, people were calling him top 1 or top 2 in the game. I mean, he was being compared to Red Cooler, a red versus a blue unit, and you can guess what happened next. When he dropped, he was the unit to fear in PvP for a very long time. It felt like everyone was using him, and if you didn't have him, yeah, you were at a severe disadvantage. He shifted the meta, making him the focal point of every game. You could not escape him, he was everywhere. When you saw Gohan, Pan, and that yellow Gohan in a game, the match was over. I mean, these three made some of the most powerful, maybe the most broken team ever we've seen in the game. Even though yellow Gohan was a powerhouse, Pan brought incredible disrupt and support, making this team unstoppable for months. Movies and hybrids were on top thanks to him. The hype around his release was huge, on par with Vegito Blue. For the first time, a Beast Gohan was available to be playable in the game since his appearance in the movie, which was monumental. I mean, the game exploded when he dropped. Although this Blue Beast Gohan isn't as powerful as he once was, his unique abilities makes him still usable in top ranks. On the right team, he can definitely be incredibly useful. Even I was using him just a few hours ago, and oh my goodness, he can still do damage. The fact that he can go neutral, gain his vanish back is really helpful. It's almost like you can catch your opponent off guard. His longevity is definitely impressive, even though he may not be number 1 anymore, which makes him the greatest unit of all time, the GOAT with 24 out of 25. Remember to comment your opinions about what you would change, which units you would add, maybe some of the ratings I've given these characters, and thank you for watching.